Alright, this is John Cole with Growing Your Greens, and today we're going to just do the garden update and a tour and walk through my edible front yard to show you what all I've got. You can see the neighbor's house here. Just a standard residential house, and he has a lawn that he's trying to get back green again. And then we go over to my house there, and you can see it's just full of raised beds. So we're going to go over here, and I'm going to talk about what's growing. As a record, I was actually walking around this morning and actually grazing off my garden, eating breakfast, and that was delicious. And I saw I needed to clip off some white powdery mildew off the melon, so I just got finished doing that. And I figured I'd just go with the run through today. So the front bed, I basically have a mixed culture bed, and basically doing square foot gardening, which I see most of the string actually got pulled up, but we had actually it basically staked off with string, so you could see the 1 foot by 1 foot squares. And over here we have some tomatoes from last year that overwintered in the greenhouse, some basil, more tomatoes. We have some patio tomatoes, golden purslane, I think this is perpetual spinach chard, maybe some arugula, maybe some Malabar spinach, Ceylon spinach, strawberry spinach, more purslane, some kind of lamb's quarter or quinoa, some more basil, and then against the trellis here we have Incanberry or Cape gooseberry. We have some sunflowers that my friend Christian gave me. We have some cinnamon basil, I believe. This is this basil here. Some patio tomatoes, which are a smaller dwarf tomato plant that didn't get any bigger than 2 feet tall. This is Brocco flower stuff. Oh, it's forming actually. Look at that. Brocco flower. Leaves are edible too, so don't just get this plant and then eat the Brocco flower thing in the middle there. All the leaves can be eaten like kale. I prefer to eat them raw or usually juice them. Let's see here. Pepper plant here. More peppers there that overwintered last year. This one is cool. It's flowering. It's called wild arugula, and what I was told is if you pop the flowers off, and I like to eat them, arugula flowers are actually quite delicious and great for dressing up a salad. Gives a little bit of a spice. But on the wild arugula, I was told that if I just pop off the tops, it'll continue to grow, and that has been the case. And this is actually was planted in a 1 by 1 square, and it's really taken over. It gets long and spindly, but all the leaves are edible like arugula. This is a nice comparison. Here is the golden purslane here, which is more of a cultivated variety, versus behind it you can see the regular purslane. So the golden purslane actually has some nice big succulent leaves, and the common purslane has much smaller leaves. So this is the front bed, just a very mixed variety bed. The bok choy did really well in the front. Oh, along the back here too, this is your Jerusalem artichoke or sunchokes going. Eggplant we have growing. This eggplant flower looks really cool. It's purple. What else? More sunchokes. Bok choy here. Another eggplant here. This is actually called it's a cucumber plant, and I got this because it's actually supposed to be a bush cucumber, and it actually did be a pretty nice bush. And the cucumbers are actually like a Persian cucumber, actually quite good. And over here we have a Japanese eggplant. You can see they're just about ripe there. So that would be the first bed. Second bed here is basically a melon bed. We have, I don't know, half dozen of melon varieties. It's grown out really well, and we've had to trim it back because of the powdery mildew. Here's some of the melons here. That's all one variety. And then you can see like a crane melon right there. Crenshaw. There's a honeydew on the other side. The next bed basically we have currently planted out Napa Apollo cabbage and bok choy. Mostly it's the Napa Apollo cabbage, which I eat as lettuce leaves. They look like lettuce to me. They're a little bit spiky, but they're definitely good raw. Next bed going back, let's see, we have squash, which are finishing up, and corn and peppers. So we have a variety of peppers planted along the back, corn here, planted for fun in between. And we did a cool thing with the summer squashes. We actually staked them up now. So you can see this, the stake. Oh, and we got a bad one right here. We need to, it's all molded. Staked it all up, and you can see, let's see, this is probably a better representation here. The leaves are every other one, and then you can see that's where a squash was. And as you can see, we vined it up, and there's a squash coming out right there. So we should have probably done that all along. Next, you know, peppers, and then along the edge we have some herbs, some flat leaf cilantro. This bed is the wild and crazy bed with the huge banana squash. Primarily, we did plant some corn in there that got lost. I don't know how it's doing, but this is basically mostly taken over with banana squash here, and some other things kind of planted on the ancillary, like English lavender, I believe. Next bed we have cucumbers growing. So we have at least a half dozen varieties of cucumbers, from Japanese cucumbers, which you see there, to standard cucumbers. I think I have Market More cucumbers, to lemon cucumbers. And in the middle here we had some beans and radishes that we planted, but we just pulled them out because the radishes took over because I didn't harvest them in time, and I had radish flowers and leaves to eat, which were delicious, but then they also attracted lots of aphids. So we pulled those all out. Now we just are basically left with the cucumbers hanging, and we're going to replant in the middle with some probably stuff for the winter shortly. Oh, there's a Armenian cucumber. These actually, guys, are really good. I love them. And we did plant some carrots down below, which didn't do all that well. So the last bed over here is my mixed greens bed. We have some cilantro that's bolting now, and of course my tree kale, planted, you know, 9 that are actually doing really well. They're actually getting really tall. We have some other kind of collards and kale. I believe this to be walking stick kale is what they're labeled, and some other kinds of kale in here. I'm not sure what kind this is. And then we have a mixed greens bed. So we have bok choy, lettuce, and some Apollo Napa cabbage, I believe. No, that's just regular. No, that's Napa cabbage. And mixed greens. And then we have this cool plant down here. It's from, I got it down at Vista Farmers Markets. Edible leaf ginseng, I believe. That's quite good. These old beds over here are going to be redone, hopefully for the winter time, in the new format. They're just the standard Douglas fir beds that have lasted actually 6 years. So that's not a bad way to go if you want to do some kind of temporary. Mainly in here we have stevia, and this grew up all up from seed that we didn't plant, borage, which is quite wonderful. Some lamb's court over there. Tomato popped up over there. Against the wall we have grapes, wine grapes with the seeds, so they're all unique varieties. Some chard over there, and this is a cool one. I don't know if I've shown this one before, but this is a kale plant. So this is the stalk. What you're looking at is the basic stalk, or I would call it a trunk at this point. It's like maybe, you know, 2-3 inches in diameter around, coming out, and this is kale plant that just overwintered several winters, and I think it's 3 or 4 years old now, and it's just gotten massive and crazy. And I've never known that kale could do this. It doesn't throw off a lot of edible leaves, but it throws off a lot of little small leaves, and it's still alive and it's still doing quite good. And it's just pretty nice and nice and incredible. Over here we have some strawberries growing. There's a ripe one there, and some mallow. I did an episode on the purple mallow flowers, quite edible and delicious. Over to the next bed we have some tomatoes. So we planted tomatoes 2 close this year in 3 rows. Next year I'm going to do only 2 rows in the same 4-foot section. And then we'll go to the fig tree here, and underneath it we planted some lettuce, and we have a donor squash plant coming up. In the front here we have tomatillos growing. Below that we have peppers. In front of that we have celery, and in front of that we have Malabar spinach, and in behind that, which is totally hidden, is more tomatoes. And off to the side, we'll be finishing up here shortly. Oh, we didn't get the other side, but that's all right. This is just the front. We have some edible greens, kangkong, and we have some more peppers, and some more tomatoes. So about another minute, we'll cover this really quick. Some stevia here that grew from seed. And then over here we have the wine barrels in the front, which we have 2 barrels of cucumbers, 2 barrels of peppers, a barrel of Jerusalem artichoke, some tomatoes, parsley, just different edible greens. Let's see, chaute squash. And to round it off really quick, we have some things planted underneath the feijoa trees and some tomatoes. All right, so that's John Kohler with Growing Your Greens. And remember, you can grow your own greens.